Everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a weekend update. The energy feels a little bit heavy today. It has felt a little bit topsy-turvy this week. Make sure that you check out Monday's reading, some very powerful messages there, and make sure that you check out all of the daily energy draws because there were some powerful messages there as well that we were picking up on for the general collective for these divine counterparts throughout this past week. And I feel like we're going to be piggybacking off of those two readings. So I'll put the links to some links of interest for you guys to check out there in the description box below. But I want to do a general collective reading and see what is going on, especially leading up to the 12/12 portal full moon. They are on the same day on Thursday, and it is the full moon in Gemini. That is the sign of the twins. It's a sign of the lovers in the tarot. It's a sign of divine counterparts. It does feel, and I've been channeling this for clients, I've been channeling this for the collective, and for personal readings as well, for friends, it does feel like there are some major shifts that are happening. What we had channeled on Monday for the daily energy draw, and then again for Monday's live stream, was that we're at a choice point. That the decisions that we make now, and remember that we have the power to make choices for our lives. We have the power to make decisions. What is it that we choose? Do we want to choose to relive the past, or do we want to move forward as better, higher versions of ourselves and better, higher versions of our life, whatever that means for us? We're at that choice point. And what we're actually doing as we move into this 12/12 portal is we're anchoring in, just making that choice and anchoring in for the next timeline, for our best and highest timeline. As we move into 2020, we're going to be anchoring into new consciousness, that new earth consciousness, 5D and above consciousness. But only if we choose to go through that portal, only if we choose to go through that doorway. Otherwise, we can repeat the same cycles. Otherwise, we can repeat the same versions of events for our evolution. If we need to repeat karma, if we need to repeat cycles. That's a small segment of counterparts that are deciding to either surrender the journey, to surrender their counterpart, to move on. That's a very small segment of those who are choosing to depart from the journey as a whole and move on to soulmates, move on to kind of calmer waters in that sense. For the greater collective, now when I say calmer waters, everybody's moving into calmer waters. That is this fifth dimensional consciousness. That is this new earth. That's this new era, this entryway that we're launched into over the course of these cosmic events that are happening in December and leading into January. Again, I'm going to refer you guys back to Monday's reading. It was release, renew, reinvigorate. Very powerful messages there about the energy that we just went through in November, that we're going through here in December, and that we're going to be moving into in January. I don't want to repeat all of that. But I do want to say that we're at that point right now where we're making the decisions for what it is that we want to choose. And for the greater collective, what we're choosing is to have that faith. What we're choosing is to continue to believe in this connection, in this love, and have that love move us forward. Now, even if it doesn't look like it in the 3D, even if it doesn't look like it in the physical, there is still forward movement happening. It's because there was karma that had to be completed. The old cycle had to be put to rest. I'm going to give you guys an anecdote. There was, for me and my divine counterpart, it felt this past week like we were just repeating the same pattern over the past few weeks. And even though there were little instances where things were different, it still felt like it was persisting until we both started reacting differently, making different choices. And I actually made the choice to block him on social media, just on Messenger, which is our main form of communication. There's still phones. We still know where each other lives. We still, there's still text messages where we can reach out to each other. But our main form of communication was not healthy. The past few weeks, there's been some major triggers, some major shifts, some major tower moments, some major just upheavals. And for myself, I had that boundary of, I'm not repeating that cycle. I have to do something for myself. And that something I was guided to do was actually to block that method of communication so that we can possibly redirect into another way. And I felt relief from it. I felt at peace from it, because it felt like I was ending a cycle. And that night, I felt something shift inside of me, and I heard my spirit guide say, yes, it was done. That cycle ended for you both. And I feel like he felt it as well. Whether he understands it or not, I'm not quite sure, but I feel like he felt something shift as well, and I feel like he felt that cycle end. And how will we move forward? I'm not sure. That is me completely surrendered and allowing that up to the divine, however it is that we move forward from here. But the cycle of our communication, our poor communication, had to end. And now we have to move forward, or some way, shape, or form move in a different direction from where we were, because it was just unhealthy. So that was a choice point that we had to make, that I had to make for myself as well, because I was just repeating the same patterns of just accepting and tolerating behavior that didn't feel good to either of us. It wasn't healthy for either of us. And that had to end. And we had to end it. We had to end that toxic communication. We had to end that behavior in order to move forward. And I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what that means for us. But it feels like surrender, however it is going forward. Whatever that means for our connection, that part of the cycle, that part of the journey had to end. And it felt that night, I can't tell you, I just felt a massive shift. And Spirit said that they said the cycle's complete. They said the cycle's complete, and I felt it. Here's what it felt like. It felt like a circle, and the circle completed itself. That's what it felt like. I felt that within myself. And I feel like that's what a lot of divine counterparts are experiencing right now. Now, that's an anecdote of my own journey of what's happening with me. However that might resonate for you and your situation. There might be toxic elements or unhealthy elements or behaviors that you're experiencing within your connection that has to end. Boundaries that have to be put up. Expressions or conversations or communication that has to be had. However that's resonating for you. Take that as it's resonating for you. Because that is what is happening. Karma is completing for both counterparts. I don't know what's happening for my divine counterpart. I have, feelings, I have intuition, but I don't know what's happening in his world, in his external world, even in his internal world, aside from my own intuition, aside from the downloads that I'm getting from Spirit. But both parties are feeling this. Both parties are feeling the karmic completion, and both counterparts are at a choice point where they're deciding, how do I want to move forward? Do I want to move forward in this old version of myself, continue to repeat the same cycles, or do I want to move forward and live this better, highest timeline, this best life for myself, this best version of myself that I have always wanted for myself? Now, here's what's interesting as well. For some in the collective, and again, I feel like this is a small group, a small segment of the collective, there are those who are deciding that they're wanting to move on from their connection, surrendering their connection, and moving on to a soulmate. There is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. Again, I'm not going to go deep into that. I'm not being called to go deep into that. They want to focus on current energies right now in this reading. So check out the December energy update from Monday and the choice point, the daily energy draw from Monday as well, because we talk about that there. But I do feel like there is this split in the collective that's happening where it's just surrender. It's surrender. It's a blanket statement of surrender that's happening all around. But it's making the choice as far as how to go forward for your life and for your connection. And that's what's happening right now. People are at this turning point. We're at this turning point, being pushed to make this choice before the new year, before we go into 2020. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some cards and see what's happening for the collective. I think I'm going to get this deck and see what's happening for the collective. And for the divine masculine and divine feminine, see if we can channel some more messages. Again, they don't want me to repeat everything that I talked about on Monday's reading. I feel like they want to start with fresh energy, and that might be because we completed that karmic cycle, or we are completing that karmic cycle There have been endings. There are new beginnings. And I feel like that's the energy that they want to bring in. They're like, that past is in the past now. You did the job. You did the work. You completed what you needed to complete. And now look forward. Look forward, especially going into this new beginning, because it feels like blessings. It feels like positive energy. And even if it doesn't feel like it right now, because it feels like heartbreak, it feels like heartache, because it feels like change. Even though there is that now, there is going to be an energy of positive movement forward and more harmony. So let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Whew. Hope you guys like my little holiday setup. This was actually a tablecloth that my grandmother made. So I thought a little bit of a festive energy might, to welcome in the holidays and the new year, might be beneficial. It makes me feel a little bit more vibrant and spirited. 10 of Cups. Yep. That's the energy that we're welcoming in. Actually, they want me to make that as the overall energy, so okay. So what's going on? What's going on, Spirit, for this collective? What is going on? Yep. 2 of Swords. Decisions have been made. That blindfold is off. You have a clear idea of where you want to go now. You're no longer deceiving yourself. You're no longer in that energy of holding yourself back, deceiving yourself with the truth. Now you have that clarity. Now you see the truth. Now you see where it is that you want to go. You see the sundial here on this card? That's almost giving me Wheel of Fortune energy, where the wheel is turning now. It's funny. I feel like we're getting past, present, and future energies. So we're going to do a little bit of a spread. Yeah. We're going to do a little bit of a spread here and do past, present, and future energies. I've been, before I started this reading, I was thinking about doing that and then going into an extended reading with Headspace, Heart Space, and Physical World for both counterparts. So I think that's what we're going to do. So let's get 9 cards here. Yeah. Yep. And near future. What's to come in the near future? Yep, there it is. More, please. Okay. I'll make sure we have all of this so you guys can see it. Okay, we're doing past, present, and future. It's the energy that I'm picking up on. It's interesting. They had the 10 of Cups that flew out, and they said that they wanted that to be like the overall theme of the reading, because that is what we're moving into. That is that January. They're swarming to January again. And in Monday's reading, actually previous to Monday's reading, what they had shown me was a clock. And they said it was a stroke of midnight on January 1st, December 31st to January 1st. And they said right now it kind of feels like we're straddling 2 worlds. With all the cosmic events that are happening here in December, all the portals, we have the 12/12 portal and the full moon. We have 12/21, we have an eclipse. And then we have the new year moving into a new decade. Moving into 2020, which is bringing in more harmony, which is bringing in mass awakenings, which is bringing in higher levels of ascension and evolution. This is the entryway they have been channeling to me into new earth, into higher dimensional consciousness. Right now, we're kind of straddling 2 worlds, where 1 minute it kind of feels like we're feeling that bliss and happiness and love. I know I felt that a few nights ago, where all of a sudden I just felt completely in harmony and love with my divine counterpart. I felt him very strongly with me and with the world as a whole. That is the energy of union. That is the energy of sacred union. That is the energy of unity consciousness. And we had that download. That's that 10 of Cups energy. It's not just your wishes fulfilled, but it's higher level of consciousness for the entire planet, for the entire universe. This is cosmic. This is galactic. This is what we're anchoring in. This is what we're bringing in. This is that 10 of Cups. It's bliss, it's happiness, it's joy, it's harmony, it's peace. And it's interesting that it's the cups and not the pentacles, because the pentacles would be grounded in the physical plane. This is consciousness is what they're saying. This is, and yes, you're going to have your pentacles. You're going to be grounding this into the physical plane with your relationship, with your partnership, with your mission work, whatever it is that you're doing. But this is consciousness is what they're saying. And this is what we're anchoring into. This is what we're moving into. This level of consciousness, this ascension, this love, this harmony, this bliss, this happiness, this peace. And so right now what's happening is we're kind of straddling those two worlds where we're still integrating and anchoring in. This past November, really the past year, really the past decade, was about awakening. We were releasing and clearing and healing all that dense energy that was just holding us back. Moving into the new year they had channeled was all about ascension, rising into higher levels of consciousness, rising into higher vibrations, into higher energy. November was especially significant for counterparts because it was Mercury retrograde, and it was the Scorpio energy, Scorpio season, which was really helping us dive deep for release of any final remnants. Now, when I say final, it's never truly final because there are always layers of understanding, but any final remnants of that dense energy that was holding us back. This was really making us dive deep. Any time that we were maybe blind to ourselves, we were not holding ourselves accountable, where we were not looking at ourselves, we were not forgiving ourselves, anywhere where we were just kind of digging our head in the sands, not willing to look at ourselves, that's what November brought in. It brought in that release. It took off the blindfold, made us step out of self-deception and heal. Made us really step into this energy of healing, really diving down deep into the subconscious, really bringing it up for us to bring to the surface, to release it for good. November was all about release. December, and again, we're going back to the Mondays reading a little bit. December, this next month, this month that we're in now, brought about a little bit of a lighter energy. Because we went through that heavy purging of release in November. It's a little bit lighter here. There's a lot of cosmic events that are bringing in significant lighter energy, more love energy is what they're saying. But it's all about renewal. So any conflict, internal conflict that we've been in, any external conflict that we've been experiencing is changing with this 5 number. It's changing, and it's moving into this new beginning, moving into these calmer waters. Also hearing that you're going to be having more harmonious, heartfelt, heart-to-heart communication with your counterpart. There's going to be more of an expression of love here. And even though we have a lot of swords energy, look at all this. Aside from the 10 of Cups and the major arcanas here, all we have are swords energies. We're moving out of this cycle of being trapped in our minds. We are moving into an energy that's part of the completion that's happening, being trapped in our minds. This is the dissolution of the ego, is what they're saying. Where we're in conflict with the ego, where the intuition with our heart is in conflict with our mind. Now we're coming into balance with our heart and our mind. Because we've taken off that blindfold, because we've moved away from that self-deception, that manipulation. This could have been with another party as well. This could have been external as well, but that's what's being healed, or has been being healed, or has been healed. There's something about the star card here as well, about wishes. Give me a second. I want to see what that's about. Give me a clarifier about the star card. Give me a clarifier for the star card. What's that about? Yeah. putting down, I feel like it's putting down, and there's that Ace of Cups on the bottom of the deck, putting down the burdens of expectations, putting down the burdens of somebody else's wishes for you. That's that manipulation, that's that self-deception, where you were believing that you had to carry the weight of another, that you had to carry the responsibility of another. This could even be your own ego that was trapping you in this feeling of, I have to keep myself in this life or on this path because that's why I decided once upon a time. Now it's like, what is it that you truly wish? Let go of anything that doesn't fit you, this new version of yourself. What is it that you want to go towards? What is it that you wish for yourself? What is it that you desire? What is it that you want to manifest? Let go of anything else, because that was an old version of you. And that version of you with this karmic cycle is completed. It's healed. And so going into current energies, we might be feeling still some of that residual conflict. But we're laying down those swords. We're laying down, again, the burden of fighting ourselves. Could be fighting others, but if we're fighting with others, we're only fighting with ourselves. In some way, shape, or form, if there's disharmony outside of us, it's because there's disharmony inside of us. Tell me more about this Five of Swords energy here. The Emperor. Letting go of control is what I'm hearing. Letting go of the control. Surrendering to our intuition. Letting go of the ego mind. Which the ego mind is the one that wants to control. The ego mind is the one that wants to fight and be in control of everything. That's what you're letting go of. That's what you're releasing here. That's what you're healing here. Now, ready to step into an energy of authority, but I'm hearing co-creatorship. Co-creatorship with the universe. Not needing to control everything in your life. Knowing that you've got this with the universe and that you've got this with your divine counterpart. That this is an energy of, I don't have to fight myself. You see how in this card, he's fighting this dragon? He's fighting this monster, this beast. But that beast is himself. And look how tangled up he's got himself. That's how tangled up he's got himself. And it's interesting, I'm not picking up on specifically divine masculine or divine feminine energy. Take this as it resonates for you. It feels like both, and it feels like it's because the energies are very merged at this point. So take whatever energy is resonating for you. This could be your divine counterpart that's going through this. Could be you that's going for this. It feels like both of you are experiencing this. And tandem is what I just heard. Experiencing this in tandem. Where you're letting go of that control. You're letting go of the ego mind. You're stopping the fight within yourself. And now it's like you're claiming your power, but not from a place of that corrupt control. Now you're claiming your power, you're claiming yourself, you're claiming your authority. You're letting down the burdens of expectations. You're letting down the burdens of other people deciding what is right for you. You're letting down the burdens of self-deception, self-betrayal, where you're finally wanting to be real. Be honest with yourself. Be true to yourself. Be who you really are to step into your power. The Emperor being the counterpart to the Empress. The Empress in her power is loving and nurturing, divine. The masculine, when they step out of the distorted energy in this Emperor role, when they step into this Emperor role out of the distortion of control, out of this distortion of being stoic, out of the distortion of holding everything back. When they step into this divine emperor role, the divine masculine energy, they're in a place of authority. They're in a place of having control over their emotions, but not from a place of holding back. From a place of, I know who I am now, and I know how to express that. And I have that clarity, and I'm honest with myself. And so because I have that clarity and I'm honest with myself, I can be honest with the world. I can take off that mask, shed the illusions, and share myself with the world. It's because they're stepping out of this. They're stepping out of this conflict within themselves. And again, this is an energy of its ego. is being in conflict with the mind and the heart, not listening to the heart, not trusting the heart, not trusting the intuition. That's what they're letting go of. And again, look at all of these swords. Now they're wanting to communicate. Now they're wanting this new beginning in communication. And it doesn't feel like just with their divine counterpart. I mean, that's okay, hold on. It feels like they want to communicate with their divine counterpart. This feels like divine masculine wanting to communicate with their divine feminine. Divine feminine, too, wants to communicate with your divine masculine. It's like you want to share everything with each other. It's like you're finally putting down the burdens of the connection of what you've been through. You're putting down the burdens of the past so that you can come towards each other in equal partnership. And part of that is wanting to talk to each other, have that heart-to-heart communication, express love to each other. For this fresh energy, it feels very Nine of Wands energy, where it's almost like both parties have been holding back so much that they're feeling weary. They want to come forward, but they want this new beginning. They want to come forward and communicate, but it's like it's so new that they don't know how. Okay, I want to clarify that. It's so new that they don't know how. It's because you're new. Because your energy is new. Because you've been completing this cycle. Because you've been looking at yourself. Because you've been releasing all of that toxic energy around yourself. All of the trauma, all of the pain, all of the heartache, all of the past. I'm also hearing guilt and shame. You're releasing all of that. You have released all of that. You're healing all of that. You're letting down the burdens of the past there. Removing the ego. And so that's bringing in a new energy of you. And with that new energy of you, both of you, it's almost like a question of, well, now how do we communicate with one another? How do we express ourselves to one another now that we're both so new, now that we're both so transformed? Now that we've been through so much, now that we're putting the past to rest, how do we start again? How do we communicate? It's a good question. How do they communicate? You communicate with love. You communicate from the heart space. You communicate with an offer of love. Now, this isn't just an offer of romantic love, although the Knight of Cups is a very romantic knight. He's a very romantic card. But for me, the Knight of Cups is an offer of an expression of self. This is a bearing of the soul. This is a bearing of the heart. This is who I am. This is who I am without holding back, without that coldness of who I was before, without withholding my affection, without withholding my emotions, without withholding my intentions. This is me offering that cup of love to you. And you see, I love this deck so much. You see how he's kind of bowing in reverence? We've channeled that once before. He's bowing and saying, this is for you now. My heart is for you now. Gracefully offering that love to each other. That's that new communication. And once this new communication begins, once this expression of self and of love begins, that's when you move into this harmony. That's when you move into these calmer waters, taking everything that you've learned, everything that you've experienced together. Even though it's in the past, you take those lessons, that transformation, and you carry that with you. Everything that you've learned, you carry with you into a new relationship, into calmer waters. So, this is the current energy where we're moving into these calmer waters. We're letting go of anything that was creating disharmony within the connection. We're dismantling that ego, learning to trust more in our emotions, learning to trust more in our intuition, learning to really stand in our power with a sense of authority, not corruption, not manipulation, not control, not holding back, but really expressing love for this new beginning and what's to come, but forward movement and balance. And the energy that they're giving me here is sacred union, which is very odd for the Chariot card, but they're showing me the black and the white horse, and they're giving me the image of the yin yang and the yin yang symbol. And that's what this is, putting the two pieces together, bringing the two of you, the two counterparts, back together to move in the same direction, to move forward, that forward momentum, fast movement in the same direction. Now you're on the same page. This is that sacred union energy. And what that's doing is, this isn't so much a completion, especially with the Judgment card. What they're giving me here is, this is a new beginning. You have completed the old cycle and you're rising up into a new phase. This is rebirth. The ending of the old, the rising into the new. You've completed the old cycle and now you're being reborn into something new. Just a reminder, you guys, because I feel like it's necessary right now, that I do not read tarot traditionally. I'm an intuitive reader. I channel what messages Spirit gives to me. I'm not going to take that. I want to clarify the World and the Judgment card, please. Clarify the World and the Judgment card. Clarify the World. Okay, they just pointed me to the Sun. That was at the bottom of the deck. I'm going to clarify some more in a minute, but they just pointed me to this. So the completion, the cycle has come to a completion. That phase of your journey, the healing phase of your journey. Now you're always healing together. You're always going to be healing because evolution is healing. Healing is evolution. But all of the purges, all of the triggers, all of the karma that you went through, all the baggage, that soul sludge that rose to the surface during that last incarnation, that last cycle that you were in together, this last decade, especially, whether you were together with your divine counterpart or not, this last decade was all about awakening. Now that you've done that, now that you've risen, what's happening is a new beginning is starting, a new phase is starting. You are rising, you're being reborn. Now we're moving into a new decade of ascension, and you're doing it together. You're doing it in sacred union here. And what that's bringing in is this Sun. What that's bringing in is this happiness and this harmony and that 10 of Cups here. So I do want to get some more clarifiers on the World and Judgment. We have the Queen of Pentacles and we have the Strength card. This is balance. This is having overcome any of the disharmony, any of the ego, any of the pain, any of the deception, any of the burdens that you were holding on to, that you were clinging onto, they're saying. And this is balance. This is surrender. This is a letting go. And you see how harmonious they are? It's almost like they're giving me divine masculine, divine feminine energies here. You see how harmonious they are? In traditional tarot, she's like taming. Let me see if I can get it. She is like the lion. Let me stop talking for a second so I can concentrate. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the Strength card, please, Spirit. Hope it's shown. I don't have a traditional tarot deck with me right now. Anyway, in I don't know where it is. But in traditional tarot, she has... Here we go. Traditional tarot and the Rider-Waite. His mouth is open and she's kind of, so-called taming the beast. She has her hand on his jaws. He looks a little bit ferocious. He looks a little bit wild, so to speak. And it's not taming as in a negative sense. It's taming as in, they're reminding me of The Little Prince. And it's one of my favorite books. And there's a quote about being tamed. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna edit this video so you guys don't have to watch me. Okay, here's the quote. It's one of the quotes. The little prince comes along and meets a fox, and the fox says, "I want you to tame me." And the little prince is like, "I don't understand what that means." And the fox says, "It means that we're going to be friends. It means we're going to establish ties. It means that we're going to mean something to each other, because up until this point, we don't mean anything to each other. It's almost like we're just strangers passing in the wild. But if we tame each other, if we mean something to each other, then we can rely on each other." And here's a quote. It says, "One only understands the things that one tames," said the fox. "Men have no more time to understand anything. They buy things already made at the shops, but there is no shop anywhere where one can buy friendship. And so men have no friends anymore. If you want a friend, tame me." Now, I feel like tame gets a negative connotation, where it feels like a lack of freedom. But what it really means is an understanding of each other. It means meaning something to one another, being meaningful. That's what's happening here. The energy that I'm getting here and why I'm reminding of the little prince is because the divine feminine is taming the divine masculine, where the divine masculine once was wild, where the divine masculine once didn't understand love, didn't understand divine feminine love, true, unconditional, pure love. And so it was because of this that they ran out of their own fear, out of ego. It was because they ran from fear of commitment. Commitment can mean what it is that you want it to mean. But what it truly means is that you understand each other, that you're devoted to one another, that you cherish one another, that you love one another. Whatever it means for you in the physical world. That could be relationship, that could be partnership, that could mean marriage, that could be engagement, that could be living together. Whatever that means, it's supporting one another, it's friendship, it's love. It's meaning one another, having meaning to one another. Up until this point, there was an understanding of the connection on a spiritual level, but it wasn't truly grounded in the physical world. It wasn't truly understood in the physical world. Now, what do I mean when I say that? I mean, you felt a connection, but you didn't understand the connection. You knew that there was something, but you didn't truly understand what it meant. And you didn't know what to do with that. That's this energy here of the taming. I know that we mean something to each other. I know that we could mean something to each other. I just don't know what that means, and it scares me. Now, what's coming in with completion of that cycle, with sacred union, and with coming together in harmony, with the balancing of the ego, dismantling of the ego, balancing of the intuition and the mind, what's coming in is this energy of harmony with one another. Now, the divine masculine is tamed. And you see how comfortable he is with the divine feminine? This is that equal partnership. This is that equal harmony. This is that love that I water you, you water me, and now we're going to grow together. With the Queen of Pentacles, it's very balanced, very grounded, very nurturing, very soft. very harmonious, and grounded in the physical plane. They just told me this is Queen of Wands, not Queen of Pentacles. That's okay. That's okay, because that's the energy they're giving me. That's okay. Let me see if there's any other message for that. It feels very soft. It feels very... It feels very nurturing. And I'm just pulled towards this line. And look how serene he is once he's surrendered. Look how loving he is and loved once he's been surrendered. This is peace between you two now. This is peace between you two. Let me see if there's another message, because they gave me the energy of Pentacles, so let me see if there's another message for the Wands. Anything for Queen of Wands? Queen of Swords. No, Ace of Swords. And there's the King of Wands. Oh, okay. So with that communication, with the communication that's coming in, with the clarity that's coming in, this new beginning in communication that's moving this towards calmer waters, this is a sacred partnership. This is a divine partnership. And that's this energy here, divine masculine, divine feminine, working together. Working together now in equal harmony and equal partnership. And I'm pointed to, look at, here we have the lions on the thrones. You see that? These divine counterparts have lions on their thrones. And look what we have here, the lion in the Strength card. And look how beautiful they are working together now. Look at how peace they are. Look how serene they are. Because they have surrendered to this partnership. They have surrendered to this connection, cherishing each other, working side by side, loving each other side by side, honoring each other side by side now. Look at that beautiful energy. I know that I'm not translating the energy correctly. I know that my words are not doing this energy justice. It is just so beautiful. Look at these divine counterparts. Look at these divine counterparts. Look at how harmonious this is, how loving this is. This is what it means to be tamed. This is what it is to surrender to this connection. This is what it is to mean something to one another and embrace that and honor that and cherish that. It means peace. It means harmony. It means love. Okay, you guys, I'm going to move on to the extended, which you can check out on the Patreon. For $11.11 a month, you'll get access to all of the month's Patreons, all the extended readings, all the exclusive readings, as well as all the past readings. We have pick-a-piles up there. We have special updates. So do make sure that you check that out if you're interested. We're going to dive deep into the Divine Masculine, headspace, heart space, physical world, the divine feminine, headspace, heart space, and physical world, and then how they're relating to each other. But I'm going to end, we're going to do conversations in the extended to each other, but I'm going to end with some guidance from Spirit, because I feel like this is a little bit of a heavier reading. So we're going to end with my conversations with conversations with Spirit, and say, what do we need to know? What does each counterpart need to know for guidance? So where's the divine masculine need for guidance? Okay, hold on. What does divine masculine need for some guidance here? Divine masculine, we have 2. There's no reason to fear, and remember your worth. And I feel like this is that letting go of the ego. This is that resolving of the conflict within the self which also, again, resolves a conflict outside of yourself, because there's nothing outside of you that you don't already hold within you. So if you're seeing peace and harmony in your outside world, it's because you're at peace and in harmony with yourself. But if there's conflict, if you're at war, or if you feel like the world is at war with you, it's because you're only at war with yourself, and that's this battle that you're facing. Divine Masculine, remember your worth. Remember that you're the emperor. And remember that there's no reason to fear. That if you're afraid, if you're fearful, it's only because you're in that ego. You're trapping yourself in that ego mindset. Trapping yourself and not listening to your own heart, not listening to your intuition. Remember the worth of your intuition, because that is the soul of yourself that is speaking to you. That is the truth, Spirit is saying, that is speaking to you. Listen to your heart and not to your mind. The mind can get you trapped. The mind causes you to fear, and the mind is what holds you back and creates these burdens. Divine Feminine, what do you need to know at this time? What's the guidance for you? You have 2 as well. Find your inner light and take that leap. I feel like this is Divine Feminine realizing her worth as well, setting those boundaries and moving forward with her life, not letting this connection hold her down, not letting this connection hold her prisoner. And by letting go and detaching from the connection, you allow this connection to breathe. You can allow this connection to feel free, and this love needs to feel free. Now, when we talk about freedom, we're not talking about a lack of commitment. If that is what you want, if you want commitment, if you want relationship, that is up to you and your divine partner. What we're talking about is feeling the pressure of the connection, feeling trapped by the connection, feeling like all your focus is on the connection. They're asking you to find your own light, follow your light. And as you follow your light and rise into your power, you're naturally going to embrace this connection more wholeheartedly and embrace this love wholeheartedly, and this union is going to come together because it has that room to come together. It has that room to align, because what happens is you're both following your light, and when you both follow your light, you follow it to each other. And they're asking you to just take that leap, whatever it is that you want for yourself. This feels very much like it could be career or mission work or something that you want for yourself, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. They're asking you to not hold yourself back anymore. Don't dim your light. Find your light and follow your light and take that leap for yourself, because your connection, your union is sacred. It is divinely guided. It is divinely guided. You both want this. And even if you're not yet admitting it to yourself, you will be. With that heart-to-heart communication, with that new beginning, you will be. You will be expressing that to one another. But in the meantime, keep following your light. Keep allowing your light to shine. Don't let yourself dim for anything or anyone. Take that leap towards where it is that you want to go. Because you both, as you are individually following your lights, you're magnetized towards one another. Because you share the same light is what they're saying. Spirit is saying you share the same light. So as you shine brighter, so will your divine counterpart. And as they learn their worth and they learn that they have their own inner light, you'll be drawn to them as well. You'll be drawn back together. Beautiful. And I just want to get one more for union. Is there anything we need to know for the union? Anything we need to know for union energy, Spirit? Nurture yourself. Nurture this connection. Take care of yourself and you take care of this connection. That's your guidance for now. Just love yourself. Love each other. Love this connection. All right, you guys, that's going to be it for today's reading. We will be going on to the extended, so if you want to join us over there, the link is below. I will be back with some more readings on Instagram and Facebook this weekend, so make sure you follow us on the social media platforms. And we'll be back on Monday with some more daily energy draws and hopefully a live stream, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Send you guys so much love, so much light, and we'll see you soon.